What's up, everyone? This is Nate, and I am back with my second video in my 31 days of horror. This is where I'm watching one horror movie per day throughout the whole month of October. Of course, last video, I went through the first 3 days, and now I have the next 7 days. So I'm going to give you 7 quick 45-second to 1-minute reviews and some scores of the movies that I watched. And then I'll do this every week until the end of October. So just giving you kind of my short opinions on these films and if you should watch them or maybe skip them if they don't sound like your cup of tea. But before I start, please, if you would consider subscribing to the channel, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you get notified every time new videos drop. And if you wouldn't mind, give me a thumbs up and leave a comment below. What are you watching for 31 Days of Horror? What are some of the movies that you watched? Or have you seen these movies, and give me your take on them. All right, so here we go. We're going to just kind of, like I said, 45 seconds to a minute on each one. First one was from the 4th of October, so I'm going to start from the 4th through the 10th, and that was going to be Scanners. Now, on the last video, I did watch Videodrome, which was David Cronenberg. There's another David Cronenberg movie, and I'll be honest, I liked this one better. I think Videodrome is more popular, but I liked this one better. But I still can't say that I really loved it. His movies are very weird. This one, it had a cool premise of these like psychic people with like telekinesis, but it just didn't capitalize. It felt too small, and I know it's probably a lower budget, which is fine, but I don't know. It felt like they were trying to do this really grand, big story, but it just fell a little flat for me. The effects are really cool, though. The exploding head, obviously one of the most iconic shots in the movie. I thought it was fine. I thought it was pretty good. I will give that one a 6 out of 10. Next, I watched Night of the Living Dead. This is the original, of course, black and white one from 1968, and a classic. An absolute classic. It's not my favorite movie of all time or anything, or my favorite horror. I wouldn't rank it in my top like 10 horror movies. However, pretty much invented the zombie genre as we know it. Because of that, you have to pay it respect. It's definitely a slower paced film. Really, to me, all the Romero, besides Dawn of the Dead, they all kind of have a similar pacing. I'm not crazy with zombies in general, but this one is an iconic film. It does look great even still. The lead performance is really good. The ending kind of comes out of nowhere. So I think the film, it's great. I think it is a great movie. It's not my favorite movie, but I do enjoy it, and I think it is fantastic. I'll give that one a 9 out of 10. I do think it is a great film. All right, next, from 1990, I watched Tremors, starring, of course, Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward. Tremors is a really fun monster movie. It is about these giant worms that live under the ground, and they sort of terrorize this very small town. I think that like the sign said there was like 14 people in the whole town. And it follows Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward and this group of people as they try to survive and then kill what they term the graboids, which are these like big worms that have other worms that kind of come out of their face. Practical effects, great practical effects. You're not getting all this CGI stuff that you would get. Now, this would now be all CGI if this came out now, or if they did a remake or something like that. So it was pretty cool to see that. A lot of fun, very funny. Not a scary movie by any means, but it's a monster movie, so it definitely falls in my 31 Days of Horror criteria. I would put it more as a horror comedy, I guess, if you're going to do it that way, but a lot of fun. I really enjoy that film. I think it's really good. 8 out of 10. Next, The Last House on the Left. Now, this is the remake from 2009, I believe it came out. This is a remake of a Wes Craven film. I have seen the original, and I do not like the original. I think it is, obviously it's super duper low budget, but even then, there's like a lot of the goofy cop characters in that movie are horrible. I don't know. I could see it at the time probably being like so extreme and, kind of hard to sit through. And there definitely is the moments, but in this movie, I feel like it's better. Not just because it's modern and shot better, which it is. It's shot very well. I like the cast in this. I like Tony Goldwyn as the dad. I think he's really good. Sarah Paxton as the daughter. And the whole band of villains. Aaron Paul. Get a little Aaron Paul action here. This was pre-Breaking Bad. I'm 99% sure. I didn't watch that show, so I think this was before that. I like this movie. I think it is good. I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's shot well and it has some good gore. And yeah, it's tough to watch certain scenes, but that's kind of the point of the story. So I'm going to give that one an 8 out of 10. I do like that movie quite a bit. All right, next is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. This is the Kenneth Branagh directed 1994, I believe it was. This movie's weird. This is a really weird movie. Kenneth Branagh, it looks incredible. Let me just get that out the way. His direction is great. I see where he was going with this movie. I think it has a lot of energy, which is cool. But to me, the story is too much. Like, it's too much. The original obviously this is based off the book, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. The original 1930s Frankenstein is so much more efficient. This, I feel like they tried to put everything, and you spend so much more time with Victor Frankenstein than with like the monster. And the monster is played by Robert De Niro, and it's distracting because you just see Robert De Niro pretty much, and he like talks a lot, and he has revenge plots, and like it's not my favorite take, but I do think it looks incredible. I do think it's easy to watch. So overall, I think it's more good than bad, but it's just not my favorite take on Frankenstein. That one I would give a 6 out of 10. Next is a classic Wes Craven film, also from the 70s, The Hills Have Eyes. I think this was the movie he made right after Last House on the Left. This movie I like better than Last House on the Left. But even with that said, it's definitely a dated film. Again, not very scary by modern times, not very graphic by modern times, but it is still good. Dee Wallace, of course, in there, Michael Berryman, and then some other people. I don't really know who they are. Just those are the only two I know by name. But I like the story. Family traveling out in the West, in the desert, and car breaks down. There's these cannibal people who live up in the hills, like the little mountains there. And they essentially descend upon this family and wreak havoc. And there's definitely some killing, and there's a baby in peril. So there's definitely some, even still, like it holds up pretty well story-wise, but just some of the other stuff is kind of, it's not the best. But there's 2 dogs in this movie. Well, one of them is awesome. His name is Beast. I love that dog. I think he made it on the cover right here. Yeah, it's a good movie. I actually like the remake to this movie better. So another one. So yeah, I would give that one like a 6.5 out of 10. I think it's good, but dated. And the last one I just watched today, and that is a movie called Freaky. This is a newer movie. This was like 2019, I want to say. 2020. So it's good. It's good. It's fun. It is a take on Freaky Friday, thus the name Freaky. Christopher Landon directed this, and he also did Happy Death Day, which is pretty much a slasher comedy version of Groundhog Day. This is a slasher comedy take on Freaky Friday, but this one's rated R. So this one has like a lot more gore and swearing, and it's a little edgier. Vince Vaughn is hilarious in this because he has to play basically a high school girl in the body of Vince Vaughn. So you kind of get that body swap thing, and I enjoy it. I don't think it's perfect. There's definitely the middle part of the movie. There's parts that kind of drag a little bit, but overall it has good kills. It's pretty funny. Vince Vaughn is really good. Catherine Newton's really good. And I think it's a fun time. I'll give that one a 7 out of 10. So those are the movies I watched this week. Please, again, let me know in the comments if you're participating in 31 Days of Horror. What have you been watching? Or what do you think of these movies? And until next time, next week, I will give you my next 7. Until then, take it easy.